And tragic news out of Mexico. People in the popular tourist city of Ensenada are marching on the streets demanding safety and protection. Over the weekend, authorities identified bodies of 3 young men found in a well. The 3 tourists, 2 Australians and 1 American, were shot in the head with their tents and car burned while on vacation. Now, an initial probe suggests the attackers wanted to steal their car partly because they wanted the tires. Our next report goes into detail on how a carjacking attempt went horribly wrong.
What was meant to be a surfing vacation on the Pacific coast took an ugly turn for 3 young tourists in Mexico's Ensenada. Last week, Australian brothers 33-year-old Callum and 30-year-old Jack Robinson, along with 30-year-old American Carter Road, went missing in Mexico's Baja California state. A pre-booked accommodation raised an alarm after the trio failed to check in. In a few days, the authorities launched a statewide search operation. In 24 hours, they found 3 bodies at the bottom of a well. The 3 tourists were brutally killed with gunshots to the head. The attackers had burned their tents and covered the well with boards. Authorities say the bodies had been there for 5 to 7 days before they were found. A charred vehicle was also found in the area. Their bodies have now been identified by their families.
Look, I wanted to start with the frankly horrendous news that the bodies of Callum and Jake Robinson have been formally identified, as I understand it, by their parents in Mexico. We can only imagine what this ordeal has been like for them and for the loved ones of Callum and Jake. I think the whole country's heart goes out to all of their loved ones. It has been an absolutely horrendous, absolutely horrific ordeal, and our thoughts are with all of them today.
The preliminary hypothesis of the investigation is that the missing men were attacked by people who wanted to steal their car, partly because they wanted the tires. When the surfers resisted, they were shot. So far, 3 Mexican nationals have been detained. 1 has been charged for kidnapping, the other 2 for possession of crystal meth. Authorities right now are not discarding the possibility that they were linked to the crime.
We don't have the motive. We don't know what happened. Until now, we don't know what relationship they had with other people. We have 3 people related to the investigation. As I said, when we have a final result for this case, we will let you know.
Over the weekend, dozens of people gathered for a vigil to honor the 3 tourists. Surfers even put flowers on their boards and paddled about 20 meters out to the sea. But the incident has also triggered protests in the tourist city of Ensenada. People are voicing their anger and sadness at the deaths. They say the city is no longer safe, neither for tourists nor for residents.
Usually it's us women, the ones who are afraid, right? And now it has happened to these 3 young men. So I feel more vulnerable. I feel that we are all more vulnerable now. I feel powerless, very angry. More than anything else, the impunity that exists in this country is what bothers me the most.
I feel angry, fed up and sad at the same time that you can't have these beautiful places anymore because you don't feel safe. I have a family, and part of what I like to do is to take my children to these places, to camp, to have a good time, to fish.
It attracted attention because it was an international issue. Had it been someone local, maybe the police wouldn't have investigated. That is a reality. It is a concern, and you know that very well.
We had something in common. We are surfers. We are women and we would sometimes like to surf alone, but we never do that because of the situation. We always have to go accompanied. I think what happened to them is just an example of the lack of safety in this state. We want to fight to feel safer.
Sunday's protest march swung the authorities into damage control mode. They say the 3 men weren't attacked because they were tourists, but that the intent was of carjacking, trying to imply that the city is still safe for tourists.
Seeing what was originally a robbery that got out of control, they tried to get rid of the corpses by throwing them into this well at a distance of between 6 and 7 kilometers from the site of the first find. This is what happened. It wasn't an attack because they were tourists, it was with the intent to steal a vehicle.
Baja California is one of Mexico's most violent states, although tourist areas like Ensenada are considered safer. The US State Department also advises Americans to reconsider travel to the state due to crime and kidnapping.
Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent. Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback? From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global South. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.